Volume weighted average price is the most common indicator used by hedge funds and other large institutions. When used correctly, this can be the most helpful technical tool that you have. This video will explain the 7 different ways it can help with your trading. Each section will build on the prior one until we have a complete understanding of how to use the VWAP to make more money. If you like stocks, subscribe to the channel. First off, we have a quick definition. The volume weighted average price, or VWAP, tracks the average price paid throughout the day by factoring in how much volume there is at each price. The VWAP appears on my chart as this purple line. Right here, the average price of every transaction this day is $64.46. So if you bought in there, half the shares traded this day would be more expensive than yours and half would be less expensive. Same goes with any other price along this line. Important note, this indicator only works on intraday charts, so 5 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes. It will work on all of those, but it resets every morning when the market opens. So as you can see here on the daily chart, it does absolutely nothing, just goes straight from the center of the candle to the next one. First up, entry prices. Hedge funds and other institutions use the VWAP to gauge whether or not they are getting a good price for the day. Since they often buy and sell investments with multiple orders, they want to make sure that they're not paying more than everyone else. Often they will buy at or below the VWAP to make sure their average is lower than the average cost of shares traded in that day. That would be considered a good entry by their definition. And as we know, institutions are the ones with all the money. So if we know where they're buying, how can we leverage that information? Naturally, an area with big orders will create a zone of support and resistance. Let's consider a stock that is trending up on a given day. As it sells off and returns closer to the VWAP, institutions will see this as a better price. They don't want to go into a meeting and say, hey guys, we got all the AMD shares, but we paid way more than everyone else. That's not good, so they'll have orders around the VWAP, which will cause it to act as a level of support in this case. Now, the normal people have sold off back to our line here, and the big orders start filling, bringing the price back up. At this point, everyone who wanted to sell here is already gone, so the price continues up. When I look for entries, the key thing I want to see is stubbornness at the VWAP. What I mean by that is that we want to see multiple touches at or a little bit above our line where the orders get bought up immediately. You can see right here, there's multiple touches, and then it just continues straight up after that. It comes back down here, touches multiple times again, and gaps up the following morning. The opposite is true for bearish trades, where the VWAP will act as a level of resistance as money managers try to sell for a better average price. We can see here that we spent about 30 minutes bouncing off the VWAP and it just could not get above it. And what happens afterwards? Well, we continue right back down. The VWAP also tells us very important details involving the trend. When the VWAP has a positive slope, as it does here, the stock is in a strong uptrend. The opposite is true for a negative slope. Often, you will see the VWAP flatten throughout the day as the market agrees upon a fair price. When that's the case, the price is usually in equilibrium. But if the slope changes from positive down to negative, that can be a bearish sign and a great signal to exit a trade or enter a short position. The trend is relatively intuitive: positive slope, positive trend, negative slope, negative trend, but it is worth covering. So what if the support and resistance is broken? We can use this indicator to identify the reversal of a trend. When the price breaks through the VWAP going up, it's a pretty good indication that the bulls are winning. When the price is breaking on the way down, that's usually a good indication that the bears are taking over. One important note is to always wait for at least one 5-minute candle to close above or below the VWAP, depending on which type of trade you're taking. This gives us a little more confirmation that the trend is actually reversing. There can be false alarms where our support and resistance comes into play. The price will cross through the VWAP very briefly and then return to its original trend, so waiting for that confirmation is important. Here's how we'd use the VWAP for a bearish trade. We see the price break through our line here, signaling that the trend may be reversing, but we want to wait a bit to confirm that the price is holding and buy in. So we wait for this candle to close, at least briefly confirming that we are changing directions, and the price continues down. But what if we were wrong? That's where the next usage comes in, and this is a lifesaver. I use it every day. Speaking of every day, there's a link in the description where I post all my trades live every day. It's completely free to try and only $9 a month thereafter. It's set up to be better than other alert groups while keeping the price completely negligible so anyone can join. I will pin this link in the comments and you can start your free trial today if that is something you're interested in. Now our most important section, which is stop losses and take profits. Here's another example. In this case, we did get a couple candles to close above the VWAP, but look, our VWAP betrayed us and the trade is not working. So when do we sell? Well, it turns out this little line that we're using for everything also works as a place for your stop loss. This can set up trades with crazy high risk reward, which is a dream come true for anyone who likes trading. By placing the stop loss below the VWAP, we can avoid large losses because our entry signal was a break through it. If we're buying here and our stop loss is right down here, our max loss is minuscule. But if the trend reversal we talked about in the last section continues, our profit potential is very high. In this particular case, it didn't even move up that aggressively, but it still had a risk reward of over 3. This works for take profits as well. Take for instance this chart where we see a stock becoming a little bit too overbought. We want to trade some short-term puts and catch a little correction for a quick day trade. We already talked about how the price tends to normalize at the VWAP, so what we can do is buy our puts here with the hope that the price retrace backs into this range. In this case, we'd place our stop loss somewhere above the daily high, and our take profit would be somewhere just above the VWAP because we want to see how it interacts with this level and get some profits before it might act as a point of support. If it looks like it's going to act as support, then we can sell the whole trade, and if it doesn't, then it turns into a full-blown trend reversal and our puts will go up even more. You can easily combine the VWAP with other indicators to be even more precise. My personal favorite is using the supply and demand zones as even more confirmation. I made a whole video on that, which I'll put a link to at the end of this video and in the comments. You could also use it in combination with moving averages, trading the crosses between the lines. Since moving averages don't factor in volume, using the VWAP with them can help ensure that the move across the moving average is meaningful. What I mean by that is that sometimes low volume moves don't carry as much weight. The price of a stock could cross through the 50-period moving average, for instance, but if only a couple people were willing to pay that price, it doesn't mean all that much. So, instead of using the price as a signal to buy, we could use the VWAP, which gives us a little bit more confirmation because the move would require volume to cross over the standard moving average. Check out the link in the comments for daily day trades alerts, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and if you found this video helpful, please drop a like.